Hello, my darlings. It's Madame Zezuba here with yet another insightful and penetrating reading. This one, of course, will be for the Taurians out there. So all my little bulls and all my little cows out there, how are you all, darling? I'm hoping everything is really bullish for you. So Taurians, so if you have your sun, moon, or you have in Taurus, or if you have a Taurus ascendant, then this reading is for you, my darlings. It's also for anybody out there who has a Taurian in their life, and you might want to have a deeper insight into what the Taurians in your life are doing. As always, we're using the cards against humanity for these readings because they provide penetrating insights that go where no other readings go. So, once again, we'll start. So we'll just draw these cards at random. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Oh spirit, oh spirit, oh spirit, great spirit. Tell us tell us our Taurians what they need to know for the week commencing December the 2nd, 2024. Week commencing 22nd of December 2024 for our Taurians out there, rightly. So let's just start with, we'll take the third one, but we'll put it here, and we'll just put that there, and it's a nice position there so everyone can read it properly. And there's third, second, third, and number 3, and number 4, and number 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12. Actually, it's number 13. Can't even count today. I don't know what's wrong with me. That's what it is when you're a disembodied being channeling itself through a human being. Well, never mind. All right, so let's start. Okay, so the initiating spark of this reading, the thing that starts it all off, is fucking the weatherman on live television. Okay, so what this reading is telling me is that the Taurian situation is one of people doing something rather unusual, rather different, rather daring in a public, very public arena, involving people that normally wouldn't be involved in such an activity. So what started this whole reading off then is a situation that's highly unusual, something that hasn't happened in your life before. Well, I hope not anyway. Something that's very, very startling, something that has probably caused a lot of commentary, probably something that has caused a lot of waggling tongues, shall we say, but it's been a very, very public thing that has happened. So a recent public event that has maybe revealed things that were possibly better left unrevealed. Nevertheless, this is what has happened. This is what has resulted. The past cannot be undone. It doesn't necessarily mean that you were doing the actual thing, but it might well be something that was happening in your close circle, or something at work perhaps that has, let's say, drawn a lot of attention. So let's look at who you are in the current moment in relation to the thing that started this all off. Judging everyone. I see. So what has happened, it probably wasn't you that was doing this thing, or that is responsible for the thing and how it happened. Nevertheless, it's put you into a very judgmental space, very, shall we say, condemnatory, perhaps, or maybe it's forced you in a more positive sense to judge in a sense of, evaluation. Well, I didn't know that this was going to happen. I never would have imagined that this was going to happen. I never imagined who was involved, or how it might have occurred, and who with whom, and by whom, and who with, and all of those other whoms and hows and what have yous. But this is what the situation is, and it's forced you to really confront your values And you probably are in a bit of a space right now and you don't really know what to do. Nevertheless, darling, there were things in the past that have influenced how this situation first arose. And the negative forces in that situation were object permanence. Now that's very interesting. Object permanence is the psychological phenomenon whereby people understand that even that when something changes in its appearance or becomes hidden, it will actually stay the same. Now, this is very interesting because, and it probably requires a little bit of explanation. When children are young and they are learning about the world, they may see an object. Let's say we put a little teddy bear on the table. Imagine a little teddy bear, and we put it in a box. And we put a box over it so it covers the teddy bear. And then we take the box off, and if the teddy bear is still there, that's object permanence. We expect the teddy bear to be there. Now, with very, very young children that don't have object permanence, what happens is that if you're a magician and you put the box down and then you take the box off the little teddy bear and it turns into a little ducky poo, like a little rubber ducky, then that's not object permanence. And that means that the object is somehow changed. Now, when we're very young, we have no object permanence. So if the object changes, it doesn't surprise us. But of course, as we become more adult and we understand the way the world works, if the little teddy bear suddenly turns from a teddy bear into a little rubber ducky, then we know that something is quite amiss. So what has happened is that there have been negative forces in this situation that have wanted things to remain the same. However, the very unusual event that happened in a very, very public place has caused others to question the permanence of the situation, has caused others to really, really look at the situation and say, oh, that's not very good, is it? Or maybe it is. But considering that it is in the negative position, we're looking probably at a situation where, oh no, things have gone down, and they haven't gone down in a very nice way. However, there have also been positive influences in the past that possibly caused this situation to arise. And those are casually suggesting a threesome. Oh, I think this is becoming a little bit more clear now, darlings. I think what's really happened here is we're looking at a situation of, shall we say, infidelity. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean marital infidelity or relationship infidelity. It could be in a professional setting, somewhere where people have not been particularly faithful to a situation. Casually suggesting a threesome doesn't necessarily that the third party consented to the invitation. The third party might probably well be you, and the third party might well be somebody or someone, well, it's more probable than not you, but it could also be somebody else. But let's just say it's you. Let's just say, for the argument's sake, it is you. That you've suddenly found yourself in this situation where others have done something, shall we say, outside of the bounds of normal propriety, and have in turn created a rather complicated triangle. However, this is in the positive position. So what Spirit is telling us, this, although this situation may seem really, really horrible, and it has forced you to confront the permanence of the situation or the relationship that you were in or currently are in, that this has come to light is actually maybe not such a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing to know when things go really, really pear-shaped. Now, this has, of course, resulted in your current self, and your current self is feeling, what are you currently feeling? What is the current self? Massive, widespread doubt. Oh, darling, yes, obviously you're feeling very, very parched. you're feeling very dry. You've probably felt very dry for a long time. The fact, though, that it is a massive or widespread drought, it means that maybe, even though ultimately the outcome might be positive, you are still at the moment feeling this enormous sense of, well, where is my nourishment coming from? Where is the water that will slake my thirst? Where is my nourishment? Darling, this is obviously not the best situation to be in. If you continue in your current situation, though, what's going to happen is this. Vegemite. A rather salty situation. Perhaps some comfort will come from it, some nourishment. Vegemite, of course, is that wonderful, very salty black spread that should only ever be really spread very thinly, especially for those who are not Australian and who aren't aware of how powerful Vegemite can be. But the current future seems to point in the direction that we're looking at something that might have some nutrition in it, but is not likely to slake the max. I mean, obviously, a salty situation is not going to help a drought really very much. So staying in this situation of feeling depleted, you're really giving up your power in this situation, darling. And to further add insult, an erection that lasts longer than 4 hours. I would say, because it's in the negative position, this is not a good thing either, darling. We're looking at a situation that this situation has probably been going on for quite a while, and it's only been made public very recently. It's not. I do not want to underestimate the effect that this is having on you, darling. However, if you, for whatever reason, maintain this position and can't change it, ultimately you'll end up with vigorous jazz hands. Nervousness, darling, nervousness. Activity. Vigorous jazz hands in this position implies that you are going to take action. And jazz implies that the action is going to be spontaneous in the moment. It will not be planned. So somehow this feeling of being very, very much in a salty situation, very much in a drought, because of this very, very public, let's call it public probably humiliation, will end up with you in your current state doing something very, very unplanned, unthought through. You will not be you will be acting spontaneously. You will be making the situation up as you go along. And really, we're going to end up still in this salty situation without any dust. It's not going to be good. Not good, darling. Not good, darling. It requires you to be a changed self. Let's look at what the suggestion is for your changed self. Courtney, Kim, Chloe, Kendall, and Kylie. KKKKK. A lot of KKK, darling. It's actually asking you to take on aspects of yourself that you have not previously exposed. There is an inner Courtney, an inner Kim, an inner Chloe, an inner Kendall, and an inner Kylie. Darling, an inner Kardashian. There is an inner Kardashian, or several inner Kardashians in you, wanting to release themselves. Spirit is asking you to go into these parts of yourself, to become these parts of yourself that you have long denied. I think you might need to watch a few episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, darling, in order to get some inspiration as the sort of person that you need, the sort of people, not just one person, darling, the sort of people, aspects of yourself that you need to become in order to get a better outcome. There will be forces, of course, in your favour, should you choose to take on these new roles. A 3-way with my wife and Shaquille O'Neal. This is interesting. Now, I'm not this card is suggesting that you will ultimately find your empowerment from this situation. Yes, at the moment you are in widespread doubt, but if, and it will continue to be that way for a little while, but if you can somehow tap into your inner Kardashian, you will find that you will change your perspective on this three-way situation. Shaquille O'Neal being a basketballer, darling, we're looking at getting a goal here. Plop, plop, plop into that basket, darling. There'll be a part. You will score, darling. You will score because of this changed self. Another force that's acting in your favor is Judge Judy. Here we are, judgment again. But this is judging from a higher authority, darling. This is judging not from a lower disempowered perspective, but a higher level of judgment. This is judgment that comes from experience and authority, darling. You need to somehow, by accessing these parts of yourself that you've been in denial of, or that you haven't really had before. Yes, darling, I can see that the judgment will be a positive force in your direction. This will cause a backflow in the other, and this will be a violation of our most basic human rights. Yes, darling, this is very, very important. Violation of our most basic human rights. The others who have been involved in this original situation will feel that somehow you are turning the tables, and they will want to play the victim, darling. They will feel that they're the ones that are being violated. They will feel that they were perfectly within their freedom to act in this way, whatever this way might have been, whether it was in a personal or in a professional setting. However, that's their feelings, darling. It has nothing to do with you. Because if you stay true to your inner Courtney, Kim, Chloe, Kendall, and Kylie, you will ultimately result in a fleshlight. Yes, darling, a fleshlight. We're looking at self-satisfaction, darling. We're looking at a situation in which you will be fine on yourself, having judged the situation from a greater level of authority, from having understood that this whole situation will lead to a positive outcome. And I think also I think a fleshlight is also asking you to be a little bit more self-indulgent, to think more about yourself and your own self-satisfaction, and shall we say your own self-gratification, than you have been before, darling. I think Spirit is very, very clear on this. So I hope this has been beneficial, of help for all of you Taurians. And until next time, bye-bye, darlings. Bye-bye.